All right, thank you, Danielle. And the federal government shutdown is being felt in Albany as well. Workers showed up to the Leo O. O'Brien Federal Building today, most to work, some just to be sent home because of the shutdown. But there was also a noticeable disruption in services for people hoping to use the agencies. And Pat Bailey is live outside the Leo O'Brien Federal Building in Albany tonight with that part of the story. Pat?
Well, Liz, here's the deal with those federal workers that still have their job. They showed up to work here today, but the caveat is they will not collect a paycheck. That is until the federal government passes a budget. In the meantime, tonight, one of the union heads for Social Security workers tells me it's not about that paycheck, even though he admits many of his rank and file live paycheck to paycheck. Instead, he says it's about the workers showing up to work and not letting down the American people. Federal workers who showed up to the Leo O'Brien building in downtown Albany Tuesday did so to work, but when this week is over, there will be no paycheck in the mail.
How tough is it to sell workers to say, come into work, but we're not going to pay you?
As public servants, one of the things that I have always been amazed at, especially with government employees, is their willingness to go out, come to work, even under threats of not being paid potentially, just because they feel the passion to do their work.
Pete Aviles is the president of the union that represents Social Security workers. He says in his district alone, there are 400 employees. In the Albany office, there are normally 14, but today there were just 2. And as you can imagine, fewer employees meant less services.
It's probably a third of what we normally do, is what we're being allowed to do. It's very, very specific.
Unfortunately for people depending on the Social Security office today, the little work employees were allowed to do did not apply to them.
I need a replacement car for my daughter, but they refuse. They say, so wait a couple of weeks, maybe they will reopen till we cannot help.
They could not help me. There was no one that could help me. And essentially, there were 2 people working.
Now, again, the workers that showed up here today not going to collect a paycheck till the federal government passes a budget, and then they're hoping to get retroactive pay. So what about the workers who already had scheduled time off, whether it be sick leave or a vacation? Well, the union rep tells me tonight they are now considered to be furloughed, and there's no guarantee that they will get retroactive pay if and when the federal government balances a budget. Liz?
Hey, Pat, what do the numbers look like here in New York State?
Well, Liz, as we know, 800,000 nationwide. We've been telling you that. Here in New York State, according to the Comptroller's office, 116,000 workers work for the federal government. Here in the capital region, about 6,400 work for the federal government. And a new number that came out today, 9,700 workers that are state workers, but their salaries are funded by federal grants. They also work in New York State, but they are not affected because we're told that at least their salaries are guaranteed at least through the end of the year.
All right, we'll see where all this goes next, and we appreciate your update. Thank you, Pat.